What's going on, everyone? We have a quick, easy, and fun stained glass project today. It's quite cheeky. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Welcome to the shop. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I went from an image to a pattern to this final sun catcher ornament type stained glass thing. Basically, you're gonna see the process from start to finish. So we're gonna get into it right now. We start off by finding our image, which mine is straight from Amazon. I'm working on a Mac, so to take a screenshot, I hit Command, Shift, and 4, and this allows me to click and drag whatever I want to screenshot. Beautiful, just beautiful. Then we're gonna open Photoshop and create a new file. In the preset details, I change it to inches. And I do that because I'm familiar with inches. You can take your measuring tape out and actually see the size of your pattern that you want to create and even compare it to previous projects. I ended off with a 3.5 by 4 inch image canvas. Then we import our image and clean up the background and we're good to go. Since the shoes are black, I'm going to trace them out with a lasso tool. I'm also going to extend the base of the shoe and make it a little longer. That way when we cut the glass, it'll be a little bit thicker, which in the end will make the glass cutting part easier. Then we fill in our selected area with the paint bucket tool and make it black, not white. Now we start a new layer and we are going to trace out the pants. Tracing is pretty straightforward. You just click the brush tool, you click your mouse and make one dot, then move to where you want the dot to go and hold shift down and click again, and this will connect your dots. Then you just keep holding shift down and keep clicking, and that will trace your image. Then we move through and trace it all out. Once you get the hang of it, you can just sail right through the tracing. I do make separate layers for each part that I trace, just so I can have more control of moving pieces around, and when you do, you don't affect the other layers. So just like the shoes, we're gonna make the rim of this hat a little bit wider so it's easier to cut and work with. One thing to keep in mind is that you are gonna have to cut this with glass. So try to set yourself up so it's a little easier when you're actually cutting the glass. Take this eye, for example, instead of having it in the center here, I'm gonna kind of move it off and up. That way you set yourself up for some easier cutting and not having a little sliver to kind of work around or work with. Every little project that I make that has potential for repetition creating, I use this self-adhesive clear contact paper, which helps protect it from the wear and tear of building. So you just peel off the back sticker, lay your paper on top, and smooth out the two layers. It's a little quicker than laminating, and you can keep a roll by your workspace. Just throwing it out there. So here's the glass we're working with for this project. It's all mostly left over from other projects except the blue and the yellow. So yay me for saving some money there. I don't really have a concrete method I follow in terms of systematically going through cutting, grinding, and foiling. Like, do I cut all the pieces, then grind all the pieces, then foil all the pieces? Or do I cut each piece individually and then grind it, then foil, then go back to cutting? I just go with how I feel that day. And with this project, for some reason, I just cut all the pieces first roughly, and then grinded them all together, and then foiled them all. Sometimes I do it differently, but that's how I did it this time. There was a lot of small pieces for this project, so I find that the cutting and the grinding were a lot less enjoyable than normal, so I just kind of got it all over with at once. If you haven't seen this tool before, it's actually pretty cool. It's either called a light pad or a light box. For the more opaque or darker transparent glasses, I bust this out so I can trace it, along with a silver or gold marker as well. Definitely a lot of thin glass here, which makes me slightly nervous for the soldering. With the thinner the glass, the more likely it is to crack, and there's enough crack here in the stained glass as it is. And now we get our grind on. Obviously, we're smoothing out our pieces with one minimum rotation of the grinding around the perimeter of every piece. Some areas need to be more fine-tuned than others. Here I'm tracing out the pom-pom outline, or the top of the hat, and we're gonna take that over to the Ringsaw and notch out all those spots. If you can do it, the Ringsaw is definitely a game changer. Well worth investment. If you noticed, I have two grinding bits on this grinder. Usually you can use the second fence that you put on top of your grid to grind with the top bit, but that way bothers me, so I kind of do it this way. After we've grinded down each piece, Here I'm gonna wrap each piece of glass with 3/16 black copper coated foil. If you're not into stained glass, foil basically is like a sticker that sticks to the edge of the glass, and it creates a surface for soldering, which holds a piece all together. I wish I had more to say about foiling, but I don't. If you have any questions about the foiling or tools I'm using, let me know in the comments, and I'll answer those in a video or in the comments. On the right, you can see all the completed foiled pieces laid out. And on the left, I'm tacking all the pieces together so we can solder. Believe it or not, I've been getting a lot better with the soldering in the past few months. And I could only say that it's from continuously soldering. Like they say, practice makes perfect. And also, I guess they say if you don't use it, you lose it. That's why I like these little projects. So just a little bit more experience, and I get to work more often instead of leaving it for a couple weeks. Eventually, things have just started to click a little bit more. Just how I move the solder around with the iron, it feels a lot different and a lot more effortless than before. Now we make our little hanger out of the silver wire. I molded it with needle nose pliers, and then we're gonna lock it in with solder. One of the hardest things about this is actually soldering it on without it falling, but luckily this one molded so well to the glass, it held itself in place. Then we'll finish this off with some edging, not sexual of course. Then we give this the old scrub-a-doodle in my rusty ass sink. And you can see, definitely not perfect, but definitely much improved. And all we have left now is the patina. And this actually really makes the cartoon pop with that black border. In the future, I would like a kiln with that paint that you could put in the kiln to harden it. But right now, all I could budget is nail polish. And here's the grand finale. We got the cheeks flapping in the wind. Thanks very much for stopping by. Drop a like if you can. I'll see you on the next one.